Hello. All right, so we are doing part 2 of the 3 clear raid now. This is the part where I clear Vera and Juleeve. So for me, my team that I use this team 4 here, which is Angelica, Diane, Kisei, and Lorena. So the main focus of this team is actually not to use debuffs. Some people brute force their way through Juleeve, also known as Council, with debuffs. I don't like doing it. It's a pain to me, and it usually causes me to fail at least once. So the route we're taking is we're going to go down here over to Juleeve, and then we're going to teleport back and go down over to Vera. I understand I have a water unit as a damage dealer, so Vera 3rd stage can be a bit of a pain, but usually it's okay. I can usually force my way through it with Archie if need be. So the main focus with this team, obviously no debuffs, so my 2 damage dealers don't have debuffs in their skills. I have 1 cleanser, which I can kind of pseudo use for a cleanse even on the in-between turns. I have an attack buff for my team, and my Angelica. With the immunity, you can actually kind of stop the poison from spreading when fighting Council, so that's why I like her over, let's say, Destino or Akates. Having a 2nd cleanser versus having the immunity. I like the immunity more, but I know that the cleanses work. So whatever gives you enough morale and that you have built, I would probably just go with that. Also, it's really nice being able to, if your cooldowns are not up and you're struggling to, or you're stalling, you want to get heals back up, you can soul burn your Angelica skills to get 4 turns of immunity as well. Yeah, the mini bosses don't really matter too much. They're pretty easy to go through. And don't really care too much to talk about the mechanics. The only one that I sometimes worry about is the counterattack one. If you have really, really strong nukers, sometimes the counterattack one can mess you up on auto. But for the most part, it's pretty easy to get through them. Not much that needs to be done. I kind of wish there was an easier way to tell which of the Bs is the correct one during the splits. However, I don't know of any better method. Some people say watch smoke. Some people say, count the number of Bs. I don't know. People have their own weird and absurd ways to make it work. I kind of just go for it. I just kill whatever I think is the right one. But if you know of something that has worked well for you in the past, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going with it and kind of doing whatever. Also, I'll put all the gear stats, my overall team stats, as well as individual pieces of gear at the end of the video. So if you want to check that out, make a comparison. If you have questions about anything, please ask in the comments. I'll be happy to answer anything, pretty much. Or you can come ask me on my stream as well. For the last fight here, I like to manual it. I like to manual the last fight so that I have all my skill cooldowns up for the boss. I also like to camp right before the boss. There's a very, very small bonus to it, but that 10% health could be the difference for certain characters to live and die. Because I use plus 32 on my teams, I really, really, really appreciate having not failing. Because on the retry, it forces you to use 1 morale, which kind of messes you up a little bit. So if you're looking for a better team that can give you the chance of a retry, you might want to look for 1 extra morale on whatever's suggested. Alternatively to having Rod and Tome on these units, Bile works quite well too. If you take the beginning of your turn, you Bile Cleanse. Pretty helpful. A couple weeks ago, I went into this and I just like instinctively clicked a different one and I got it wrong. And I was like, wow, I have to restart raids. And it was after I had almost cleared all the way down to Vera after beating Juleeve. I was very upset. Very, very simple mistake, but I always check to make sure. Let me cleanse first. That way it doesn't spread right away. See if I can push the combat readiness back. Then I can let my Diane move first. Cool. So here's my attack buff. Generally, I save my souls for Angelica skill 3 or for Archie. It's really hard to line up Kisei skill 3 into skill 2 against the bees when they split, because every turn you take, they do damage to you and strip buffs. Also, they don't really care about stealth. Not really a mechanic to them. Oh, the stealth is gone. Unlucky. So Archie, even though you lose the buff, still helpful. Some people use the defense breaking guardian for this. I don't think you really need to. But whatever your preference is. I like Archie. Simple damage, low soul cost. Oh, I forgot to swap to Tome actually. I'm using Water's Origin right now, because I use my Angelica for frontline tank in Wyvern's 11. I forgot. Oh, it looks like that was the correct one. I gambled it and I got it correct. Nice. That is pretty nice. So usually the second phase is where I start to try to balance out my HP to make sure that my units have the right HP. So I'm going to use second skill first for the heal. I'm not really too worried about the poison spread right now. And then I'm going to use skill 3 afterwards. The reason I want to use the skill 2 first is because the cooldown's really low. So I want it to be up and ready for when we fight the next stage. Oh, I might have forced that a little bit too early. Okay. Stealth is still up though, so the ignored defense mechanic comes in. The middle one, because we crit that one. Our key for damage. I don't think I need to soul burn it because it's just going to disappear. It's just going to get stripped off, so I'm just going to use a regular one. And then cleanse off the buffs. So the damage is done, takes part of the shield away. That should be fine. Now I don't take damage. Plus the soul gain is really nice between all my skills. I go for the heal. All the poison stacks on her, not so great. And Malarkey here. Hope it'll kill the second one. And if it doesn't, if it's not the right one, then we'll go for the one at the back. So it is the correct one again. Wow, nice gamble. First time I've ever done that. Getting it on the first try. So this should be an easy clear now. Then we teleport back to the main area and move towards Vera. I'm still quite impressed by how much damage my Lorena does, considering she has very, very low investment. In terms of skill ups, she has like +3, which is her cooldown. She's maxed out on runes, but I mean, her gear is not that good. She hits very hard, and she's very consistent. Alright, so there's the clear, and then we teleport back and work our way down to Vera. Oh, wait a minute. I may or may not have just messed up my whole run based on morale. I don't know. I have to recount that, but me going down there, I think just screwed up my whole run. This is the mob that drives me up the wall. This mob. If you do too much damage to it, you end up killing yourself, which is kind of scary. So I try to when I get to this part, I manual it in case. I've had my Kisei procket on the first hit, and then suddenly my whole team's dead. I look back, my whole team's dead. Because everyone just got counterattacked to death. Yeah, the counterattack mechanic is pretty strong. Strong. And we have capsules. This is actually okay because we're at 22. We beat this 29. We move into the next map is minus 30 instead of minus 31. So we're barely okay, but it's not something you should do given the opportunity. All right, my strategy approach for Vera is usually to. So if you hit the ads, she gains combat readiness. So usually what I do is I used to do is I would attack buff double archy and then hit her once. She would take one turn and I would pop her to half. Now usually what I do, actually I could probably do that now. Usually what I do is I Kisei skill 3, Lorena skill 3, and then I double archy. But I think this works just fine too. I have enough attack on my team to actually almost pop the eggs in one go. So if I do this, for example, I would pop all the eggs. So that next turn she'd have to summon them again. The risky part about this like attempt at resetting is off element. So if I miss, I can't reset. Yeah, like that. I don't really need the souls for the second stage. The second stage is very easy if you have immunity and also pretty easy if you have a combat readiness pusher. But Lorena makes it pretty good too. So not worried about the eggs. Basically just knock her below 50 and hit her again. So there it is. Knock her below 50. Second hit, she'll gain a turn. All the eggs die. She summons 2 units and goes into an egg stage. So for this stage, you don't necessarily have to kill the ads. I do because it makes the third stage easier. What I would suggest, though, is always hitting the egg with one of your supports. So the egg heals every turn. And if it's at max, it gains continuous healing. So if you just tag it once, like even that tiny sliver of damage will be enough that it won't use the... It won't be using the continuous healing at all. Immunity stops the bugs from being able to push your combat readiness to 0. So putting immunity up is quite nice. Weaker teams, I would definitely say kill the bugs and then kill the boss. It's a lot easier if you have attack buff to go with that. Attack buff or any sort of combat readiness boost. It's because it'll give you more turns. Cooldown reset is also really good against it. But for stronger teams, you can probably just go straight egg. I still do this out of safety, though. It is very habitual for me to do it this way. I try to save Archie for third stage. Third stage is also Earth Element, so when I fight Vera using my my Kisei, sometimes I don't want to lose because I miss too many times. So I'll just use her turn star key. Yeah, this for me, this stage is all about building soul. I just try to build a lot of soul. I also try to put up my Angelica's skill 3, her immunity, and Diane's shield at the same time when I get to the second stage, because my Diane shield is way larger. It helps protect my units against the pretty heavy damage from Vera. Vera begins to output a decent amount of damage. It's nothing super concerning if you're stronger, but when you're weaker, if you let her live too many turns, she just deletes your whole team. You'll see on mine, like even my Kisei takes a lot of damage from it. This is my safety mechanism. Using Kisei skill 3. If it lands, it cooldown resets, so the egg never pops. Either way, even if it doesn't reset and I miss it, let's say, it's a lot of damage, so we're pretty good. Pretty safe team. That's a miss. I'm gonna wait to Archie. So like the damage output comes pretty fast. It gains stackable buffs every single turn. And this hits pretty hard. This right here is why I like the immunity. So this is why I soul burn it. 4 turns of immunity. It's pretty good. Save yourself from all the debuffs. Attack buff. Skill 1. I'm gonna Archie skill 2 in a second here. Yeah, so like it breaks through that shield. Look how much damage it did to my Kisei, right? That's a ton. It just hits so hard. That's why I gotta be careful here. Archie while I have attack buff going. Lorena is gonna be the main carry for this part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a rarity. That's pretty cool to see. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter if anyone dies because we already did Juleeve first, which is why I don't mind taking Juleeve before Vera. Vera has this risk of my Kisei getting RNG'd and killed. Could probably Archie again. That doesn't really matter. And before it matters. Okay, we're good. We're good. Everyone's still alive. I should have Arcade with my Angelica there. That doesn't really matter. We're going to win. This is what I mean about coming close with Vera. It's pain. Risky. There it is. There is the second route and the clear. With my tiny little mistake here of accidentally walking down. Better have a plus 33 team for that, for safety. with the recent changes to Epic Catalyst locations, I'm going to stop buying Nightmare Masks. I was planning on buying them to fill out my Kron because I don't feel like the gear is as important as it used to be before the gear change. However, I will still be buying this box on the chance for the Mulligara seed. I think I'll be buying the box, and then every once in a while, I'll buy a piece of gear or I'll buy an Epic Charm. But for now, I'm not really sure what I'm going to spend them on, so we will probably just not spend them. I just not spend them. That's not very good. I was hoping for something better than that. Whatever. I made from regular normal raids now. I pretty much only care for Galaxy bookmarks and Coronation souvenirs. All right. In terms of gear, this is my Diane. So she's max skilled second, max skilled third. I'm running a speed set with a broken set for my offset with Rod of Amaryllis. These are my stats. I run speed, HP, and I think this is a defense ring. So my main focus with her is enough speed, HP, and defense. She's just really just there to kind of give buffs and be tanky enough. Let's see who is next. Kisei. My Kisei is built for Wyverns, so she's built with the imprint from my Luna, which is why her crit's so low. She's on a crit damage necklace, attack, ring, and speed shoes with Daydream Joker. In terms of sets, all I have is critical, and she has no skill ups at all. She works well without skill ups, so I didn't really bother on it. My Angelica is... Oh, sorry, let me rephrase. Those are both 5th Awakens. Angelica is 4th Awakened. I haven't bothered with the 5th one for the extra HP. She's on speed set with this random critical offset. But these are her stats, and she also has no skill ups. And then my Lorena only has skill ups and skill 3 for the cooldown. And she has, I believe this is a crit necklace. Yeah, it's a crit chance necklace and a very weak attack ring that I kind of threw on as a leftover. But I used the Hell Cutter to max out the crit rate and give her some more attack on her turns. Her skill tree is maxed out though. I fully maxed out her skill tree. Yeah. So that's part 2. If you guys have any questions about the bosses or anything, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for future things you'd like to see me work on or talk about, then let me know.